Am I on?
We're muted.
Okay, we'll keep it muted. I was just gonna let them know we got 7.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I see it. It's not moving. Yes.
Yes, honey. Yes.
Did the Holy Spirit tell you wrong?
Huh?
Did the Holy Spirit tell you wrong?
To let you know.
With that red rose, baby.
Okay, hey.
Come through this year.
You know what? For real.
Look what John brought
I
me.
don't know how.
Yes.
He wrote a nice article. This good packness. Hey, Ma.
All right.
Hey.
You want to pray? You want me to pray? Would you
Oh, we can do it.
You do it?
Yeah. Girl,
It's his last meeting.
I'll have
He's right there.
later.
Or unless you want me to do it.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. I just.
Yeah, that's fine. I get it, mate.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, and welcome to Caddo Parish Commission regular meeting agenda. On today, we will ask if you would silence your cell phones, and we'll have our roll call.
Dominic,
Present.
Johnson,
Present.
Jackson, Lynn,
Present.
Bowman,
Present.
Hawthorne, Gage
Present.
Watts,
Present.
Middleton, Atkins,
Here.
Chavez,
Here, ma'am.
Smith, Lewis Johnson. We have a quorum.
Thank you. We'll have our invocation by Parliamentarian Gerald Bowman, and we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance by Vice President Chavez. We ask that if you would stand and join us in the prayer and pledge.
Heavenly Father, we come now with bowed heads and humble hearts, dear Master, Lord. Just thank you for this day, Lord. Lord, thank you for this opportunity, Lord, not only to serve, but thank you, Lord, for the opportunity for all of us to be together, Lord. Father God, I ask that you forgive all sins. Father God, I also ask that you just continue to bless all the commissioners who are here and those who are outgoing and even those who will be here beyond, to always remember their purpose, Lord, and that their purpose is the people, and that we're here to serve only the people, and that we're here by the favor of them. Lord, it's by your grace and mercy, I ask that you not only dispatch your angels, Lord, around everyone who's serving, but everyone, Lord, who's even present today, even to address their issues, Lord. Bless them as well. Let no harm, hurt, or danger come their way, Lord, and unite us so we can be a better parish. Bless our president, Father God. Bless not only this state, but all of this United States, and bless our military here and abroad. It's in these and other blessings we entrust in your Son, Jesus' name, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. If everyone will face the flag, place your right hand over your heart. If you are a veteran, you may render a hand-to-brow salute. Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, commissioners. Our fire chief is here with an announcement.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Derek Harris with Shreveport Fire Department Fire Prevention Officer. And we have an occupant load based on fixed seating. So for life safety, we would need everyone who is standing in the aisle to go out to the overflow area, so they would need to find a seat for life safety.
Okay. Thank you. I think I have some sheriffs up here.
We have a TV out in the foyer area.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
We have a number of seats available, and we have a television out in the foyer area, so you
Okay.
would need to find a seat.
We would ask that our sheriff would help get them escorted to that area, or to those areas.
Yeah. Always over there, fire company.
Well, what are you doing?
Oh yeah, this is my last meeting is gonna be a long one.
Trust me, it will be. Thank you all for your cooperation.
All these people are
We
here.
have a full agenda on today, and we have a plethora of citizen comments cards. Before we move to the next item, I just would ask that if you would respectfully make sure that you know that your mics are on out there as well, so that we can conduct the business of Caddo Parish. We welcome you here, and we're glad to see so many people in the government's chamber on this evening. Madam Clerk.
Agenda additions.
Yes, I have one.
Speak. Yeah.
Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
Yes, I'd like to expand the agenda to authorize the parish attorney to request an opinion from the Ethics Board regarding the possible conflict of interest arising from the appointment of Jeff Everson as clerk of Caddo Parish Commission.
Okay, and that was moved by Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson, and that was seconded by Parliamentarian Gerald Bowman. Commissioner Johnson, would you like to speak on your motion?
Yes, I just think that if there is a letter that's sent from Caddo Parish to the Ethics Board, that it should come from our parish attorney, and then our parish attorney would then pen that letter, and then we'll get a result back from that, and not the individual do a letter. It's fine for the individual to do it, but for the sake of the board, that's why we have a parish attorney, that they can do that, and we'll get that opinion and send it back to us, so that we will know 100% whether it's a conflict or not, and the citizens of Caddo Parish would know whether it's a conflict or not.
Okay. At this time, we'll open this for public comments. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of adding this agenda item? Is there anyone here to speak against it? I see none. I declare this public hearing closed. Now, at this time,
This is just to expand the agenda.
to expand the
Okay.
agenda. Okay. Now, at this time, I ask that commissioners would vote on the proposed agenda addition. And it fails 8-1. Next item.
Now we move to citizens' comments.
Okay, citizens who wish to address the commission on any issue other than zoning, please fill out a comment card located in the chamber foyer and return to the president or the clerk of the commission. Individual comments are limited to 3 minutes. Citizens who wish to address the commission on matters relative to public hearings will be limited to a cumulative total of 15 minutes each for or against an issue. Those who wish to make a presentation are asked to select their speakers and address the points they wish considered with this limitation in mind. The first card I have is from Amber Bishop and Kelly Wells.
Good afternoon, Commissioners,
Good afternoon.
President. We're excited to come back, and Amber Bishop with Bishop Promotions is once again bringing back the Showtime Showbox Next Generation Boxing event. Just like last year, they're a little bit late in getting everything together, but if you recall last year, I think on January the 11th, at the Stageworks, we had the great boxing event, live boxing, that was showcased nationally, internationally. We had the opportunity to bring back to George's Pond at the Hirsch Coliseum on Friday, January the 31st. The second round of that, again, it'll all be televised, and so on behalf of the Shreveport-Bossier Sports Commission, we're supporting the event with $20,000, and I know that we made a request last year, I believe, for $8,000. I believe the request this year is for $10,000, and I'm just here in support of that event. I think it was a great event, and with the Stageworks being a new venue, since it hadn't been used in a couple of years, we didn't know the seating and everything else. So with moving that to a larger venue in the George's Pond at the Hirsch, and the partnership with the Shreveport Mudbugs and Tommy Scott, we feel like with the marketing and promotion that in a larger venue, we can accommodate more for this great boxing opportunity. Amber was going to talk about the lineup for the Friday night.
Thank you, Mr.
Hello,
Wells.
everyone.
Hello.
I'm super excited to bring Showbox back to the Shreveport-Bossier area. This is going to be at the Hirsch Coliseum at George's Pond. This is a larger venue. This is an all-age venue, and we're super excited. We've got Ruben Villa, who was actually the co-main event at the Devin Haney fight, which we brought last time. He is our main event this time. He is ranked number 5 WBO featherweight champion right now. He will be defending his title that night, and we've got 3 fights that will be televised, and then we've got 6 undercard bouts that night, a full action-packed card.
All right, we can't ask any questions at this time, but I'm sure that you'll hear some things during committee days. We thank you both for coming down and sharing your comments.
Hey, Stacy.
y'all.
Okay, and the next group that I have for Caddo Alliance for Freedom is, these cards are from Jessica Toulis. We have David Cox. Is this Commissioner David
Yeah,
Cox?
former commissioner.
Where is he?
Yeah.
Is
He's
he out?
not with Caddo Alliance for Freedom. I think he's talking for himself.
Okay.
I believe he's
We
outside
love
watching
him.
you.
We love him.
Okay,
Yeah, he's-
well, I'm gonna move to the next one. I have Allison Taylor, Chris Crackman,
There's Mr.
David.
The runner-up.
Joe Morello, John Harrell, Jane Tappy. Are all these citizens here that I just called?
David.
Okay. And Mr. Cox. All right. Former Commissioner David Cox.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Great to see
Good
you all again.
afternoon.
Real quick, my new address is 8257 Sophie Lane, Greenwood, Louisiana. And I'm here today to make a couple of suggestions. A lot of people don't know that some of these commissioners that are sitting before us today won't be here on Monday, simply because election came up. Some were bowed out. Mike, you're gone. You're termed out. So what I would suggest to look at for this UDC, in 2011, we voted for the master plan. In 2017, the UDC plan was ratified. In that, there's a lot of problems. This is why you got this crowd here today. We have to come to an agreement that when you have Mr. Sweeney, thank God he's gone, make these suggestions. And we were against half of the stuff he was talking about when I was here. Now, what he put in place is really not going to work. You can't really say, well, we're just going to wipe it out. But what you can do, table it for a year. No citations, nothing. In that year, look at what's written in it. Some of it's not bad. 90% of it is trash. What needs to happen is a committee be formed, go outside that 5 mile, talk to the residents with Caddo Parish residents and representatives, not somebody from New York City. Real quick, when you start, and like I said, I just moved to Greenwood, Louisiana. It's quiet, it's peaceful. If the UDC, and I like Mr. Clark and I have worked on a lot of issues together. I think he's the man for the job to straighten this out with the MPC. In doing so, work with the people who live in that 5-mile range. Tell them what needs to be done. Get their feedback on what they need, what they do. Case in point, a mobile home gets struck by a tornado. Under the UDC code, they have to come up to code to repair that house. That means they have to move the whole double wide or single wide off the pad that exists, pour a pad, and then move it back. I talked to a couple of insurance companies. That don't fly. So, for the ones who are staying, we are looking for your help. For the ones who are leaving, talk to the ones who are taking your place. This is an issue that's going to come up. Get a committee together. And when that committee is there, don't do it in such a fashion that you miss something. It takes 6 months to do your committee work. Take the next 6 months to rewrite this thing. But get approval from the people who it affects.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, former Commissioner David Cox. I would ask if the audience would hold your applause. If you would like to applause at the end. I know that you're excited about what you're sharing on today, and I love your passion. Really, I do. I just want to make sure that we are governing ourselves accordingly. So if you would just please hold your applause, okay? Thank you. I have these 5 individuals that will be coming up. You have a collective total of 15 minutes to speak. And that will give each of you 5 minutes each. 3 minutes each. I'm thinking 3 people in 5 minutes, but that is 5 people with 3 minutes each. And the first one is Allison Taylor.
I'll be reading for Jake Brown, who is a fellow member of the Caddo Alliance for Freedom. Ayn Rand wrote, "We are fast approaching the stage of the ultimate inversion, the stage where the government is free to do anything it pleases while the citizens may act only by permission, which is the stage of the darkest periods of human history, the stage of rule by brute force. The master plan rarely mentions private property. Most people at Caddo Shreveport have no idea that our 2030 master plan is the introduction of a dangerous global agenda. The United Nations Agenda 21 is a very real, all-encompassing plan. It's pure communistic in nature. The agenda was a product of the Rio de Janeiro conference in 1992, was intended to be implemented worldwide in order to control all land, water, minerals, plants, animals, construction, energy, education, information, means of production, and all human beings. 100 nations attended the 1992 Rio Education on Environment and Development, all agreeing to the Agenda 21 articles. Agenda 21 contains 27 principles warning against the sprawling growth outside of cities, which they believe leads to the extinction of life on Earth. They base this on 2 fundamental ideas, development and environment, which is also what they use as the foundation of their Shreveport Caddo 2030 Master Plan. Global warming, also referred to as climate change, is often used as a scare tactic to help push their agenda and recruit more people and cities into making their own master plans for the future. These master plans are full of ways to strip property rights as well as take portions of land for public use, for parks and green spaces. Did you know the 2030 Shreveport Caddo Master Plan wants to create an administrative court to deal with the quality of life violations, also known as the Unified Development Code violations? In 2007, the Louisiana legislatures passed amendments giving any municipality or parish in Louisiana the power to adopt an administrative adjudication hearing procedure to deal with violations of ordinances regulating public health, housing, fire codes, environmental matters, and historic districts. To enforce code violations, the administrative court may record a lien and private and privilege against the private property. This acts as a mortgage against property, allowing any fine and cost imposed to be enforced against the private property. Any liens placed against the property will be included in the next annual tax bill, and failure to pay the lien can make the private property subject to sale through code enforcement lien foreclosures. All in all, this is an easy way for them to take your private property. Louisiana is unique in that at a state sale, you have 3 years to redeem your property for unpaid taxes, but this administrative court will be able to transfer your property with clean title for failure to pay code enforcement liens, cutting into the process of redemption. Did you know the 2030 Master Plan wants to create a detailed property database with information on tenure, condition, code status, and other aspects of your private property? This will make it easy for them to enforce the Unified Development Code and keep a constant eye on you and your property. Did you know the Master Plan wants to create a ticketing system that fines for
30
quality
seconds. Continue.
So we have it, they have it, so
Okay.
we'll read the rest of it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not stopping the clock.
You said 30 seconds, right?
Yes, sir. She said you still can continue for 30 seconds if you like. If not, the next speaker can.
Do what now?
Tell them that they have it.
Okay, all right. Don't think that Agenda 21 is a conspiracy. That is a conspiracy theory. The master plan is clear evidence that has found its way into our local political system and is sitting at our doorsteps, waiting only to further be implemented with the establishment of courts to enforce the UDC. This is an intrusive agenda. We need you to help to reverse the atrocity of our freedoms. We all must fight against government overreach if we are to remain a free people and nation.
Thank
Time.
you.
Thank you.
Chris Crackman.
Good evening, or afternoon, whichever it is.
It's evening. You on it. Go ahead.
Chris Crackman, 4530 Pine Knoll Drive, Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm not going to be as long-haired as Jake's little speech was. First off, I'd like to say that there's no question that we have very legitimate arguments to the UDC, because some of you all expressed disdain for the UDC upon its conception. There's also no question that there are existing codes and rule of enforcement beyond the 5-mile outer ring of the UDC's reach, because that's what Caddo Parish follows beyond the ring right now. They're not 50 years out of date. They've been amended all the way up to July of 2019. The fact of the matter is just because they were ill-enforced in Caddo Parish before the UDC was implemented doesn't mean that they should have been thrown out and they should have been adopted, or that a UDC should have been adopted in its place. I mean, it's a $500,000 carpetbagger's idea of how we should live. That's not from here.
Please hold your comments. Thank you.
We have and we will never be the Wild West as it's been suggested. We elected commissioners, you all, that we count on. The MPC has their hands full. That would be an understatement, really. They have more than their hands full with the city of Shreveport. Bessie Smith made that very clear last night. We believe the MPC needs to put their focus back to its city limits, where there are endless nonconformities. We don't know and we don't understand and we barely care why they decided to come way out to rural Caddo Parish and just start passing out citations. I don't know if it was for fun or if they were trying to learn about the demographic, but I do know that that is not a way to notify citizens that their zoning has changed. That's no way. It's wrong in every way. A violation is not a survey, it's a corrective action. And to our liberties, it's a threat. There are plenty of codes that are up to date in the Caddo Ordinance of Codes. They're open to the public, we skim through them, and it doesn't look to me like there's anything wrong with it. And I don't see anything wrong with retracting the 5-mile radius, reinstilling the code of ordinances that existed before that from 1975, 1985, all the way up to 2019, and just getting us out from under the Metropolitan Planning Commission's rule. And it's not anything against the MPC. The fact of the matter is it's taking their time away from Shreveport. Shreveport is in bad shape, folks. Let them handle Shreveport, and let y'all handle our needs as we would expect y'all to, because we have a lot of faith in you all, or we wouldn't have voted for you all. It's only human to admit mistake. Unfortunately, that's what the UDC and the 2030 master plan is. It's a mistake, and that's fine. It was pushed through without reading it. We're talking about 2,300 pages of different ordinances. The UDC alone is 213 pages. I see some of y'all are looking at me kind of funny. I understand it's 213 pages long, or 312 pages long. I don't think everybody here read every lick of it, or it wouldn't have passed. I would encourage you all to read it, but the fact of the matter is the group that I'm with, which is the way too many people that are behind me. I'm sure y'all like to be flattered, but they're not happy. We would like to see you all take control back over with the original ordinances that we already had, that we were already following, and that they were ill enforced. Just admit to the mistake, retract it, and fix it. You all work for us, they all work for you. Fix it. It's that simple. We would expect everyone involved on maybe not this commission, but the new guys that are coming in. We would expect you all to do the right thing. I understand that everybody wants to make amendments. LB made that very clear when he came to our meeting. We appreciate that y'all can make amendments, but I do not see the sense in making hundreds of amendments when you can reinstill something else, because all of these people behind me aren't in a mood to negotiate their liberties, and we will not negotiate our liberties. Any questions?
We can't ask questions at this time.
Good. Thank you.
So, for the remaining 3 citizens, you have 5 minutes and 24 seconds. Joe Morello.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Joe Morello. I'm from Keithville, 10254 Miller Drive, Keithville. I've been living out there since '80. I'm 71 years old. I worked for my life 45 years, and I'm 4 years Air Force. I'm a firm believer in the fact that we are for the people, by the people, of the people. These are the people. Amen. In this particular case, not you, we. It is for you to hear us. We own property. We worked our butts off for it. And it is our right. As Americans, as Louisianans, these crazy rules, I know this is only a tip of the iceberg of the rules of the UDC, but the one that just jumped all over me was, I can only have a 12-foot wide driveway. Are you kidding me? I have 175-foot road frontage, and I own 2 vehicles and a boat. That ain't near about good enough. And this ain't got nothing to do with Caddo Parish outside city limits. This is crazy crap. How did we get to here? Who are these people in Boston, Massachusetts to tell us how to live our life? No way on God's green earth they're going to tell me how to live my life here in Louisiana. at this point, I'm agreeing with this here. Caddo for Freedom Alliance, and eliminate this 2020 plan, eliminate the NPC's 5-mile border, and ensure future codes can protect and preserve private property rights and us citizens. If you guys, whoever, whatever, I'm not familiar with the politics of y'all, whatever. But I'm going to tell you that if you guys want to put this crap on us, I want to vote on it. Yes or no? There ain't a soul here that doesn't agree with common sense, common logic, common decency towards our neighbors, and respect for our neighbors. Nobody here, everybody here agrees with that. But this is crazy crap. And I want it gone out of here now. Thank you.
John Harrell.
There was one other person before me.
John Harrell and Jane Tappy. Tappy.
And there's 2 minutes
John
and 16
Harrell,
seconds remaining.
4029 Shepherd Road, 71107. I'm here to support everything that's already been said, but one of the things that I would like to say is when you go on the site and you look at the map, it's not correct. And people are going to be selling their homes and everything. They're going to sell their homes not knowing it's been corrupted by the UDC and all this stuff, and it might come back on them. And then they're going to come back on y'all because y'all the one that put it on us. So you devalued my house. I'm looking at not being able to do the things that I bought. Several $100,000 home with 5 acres. I've got a 6,400 square foot shop. I'm living the dream. And then all of a sudden, something besides mule dung is dropped right in the middle of my house. And it's the UDC. So you can't do this to us and drop our values, because no one's going to want to buy a 5-acre place, a nice place. So convenient. It takes me 15 minutes to be right here. And I live the country life. I have deer in my yard. It's beautiful. But y'all have really dropped the ball on this. Y'all, and we can't dawdle with this. It has to be resolved fast. Because there's several people here that they either are going to move or drop dead, and their people are going to want to sell the place. So let's work together and get this done, get it back into the city, and get it out of the parish. Thank you.
16 seconds.
Ms.
Y'all gonna make me
you
talk
have-
faster than I usually talk.
Yeah, 16 seconds.
Okay, Jane Tappy, 4380 Acorn Circle. All right, while I am here with the Caddo
Madam
Alliance
President,
today.
I move that we extend and not insult my
Thank you
intelligence.
so much. I can still get it done in 2
Second, and to afford her
Thank
a
you.
3-minute rule. Thank you.
so much. Thank you so much. All right, I'll slow down. All right, while I am here, do I need to repeat that again?
No,
Jane
you're
Tappy?
good.
Okay. While I am here with the Caddo Alliance today, I wear mini hats. Just like you guys do, just like all of these people out here do. We wear mini hats. Okay, I'm here as a mom, I'm here as a grandmother, I'm here as a homeowner in rural Shreveport. I'm here as a concerned citizen. I'm here as an advocate for those who don't have a clue what's going on in front of them, or they don't even know what's going on. They're not aware of what's going on, and that will affect them. But right now, this moment, I'm wearing my realtor hat. Last night, we were here till after 5 o'clock with the MPC meeting. I had to personally rush out at like 5:15 while they wrapped it up here, because I had to go be sworn in as a director of the Northwest Louisiana Association of Realtors. There are 1,300 of us. I am one of the ones that is a leader or a representative of those people. I had to raise my hand and swear, basically, that I would do a good job for people buying and selling houses, land, stuff. Not only am I supposed to serve my fellow realtors, but also the thousands of clients that those realtors deal with on a day-to-day basis. Customers that we need to serve, we need to help, we need to lead, we need to guide, and one of the most important decision-making processes they have, which is buying property, houses, buildings. So, when a client or a buyer comes to us, they want to buy a house with a rural development loan. Rural development. Rural development. Do you know what the first stipulation is? They have to live out of the city limits. So they and I, and I'm assuming most of y'all, would assume that simply by the government guidelines saying you have to live out of the city limits, that you would get the benefits of living rurally. In the country, out of the city. This UDC does not allow them that right. Those are just the ones that got an RD loan, but there are many, many more of us that didn't purchase with RD loans. So you, not you as the commission, but you as the MPC, took those rights away from us. You took them away from that particular group of people along with all the rest of these. And now you made me, as a realtor, not be able to make someone understand, yes, you are getting a rural development loan, but that doesn't mean that you have rural rights. You have none. Yes, you are getting a government-backed loan, literally entitled an RD loan, but you don't have those privileges, the same as someone who lives 6 miles out because you live 2 miles in, closest to the city limits. So, y'all see the problem? Obviously, we all see the problem. So I'm here wearing many of those hats, asking you, and take this as strong as you would like to take it, demanding you guys that are our elected officials stop this madness. Mr. Clark, the executive director last night of our MPC, he stated himself, we did not do a good job, as the MPC should have. That meant in letting everybody know what changes had taken place. He also said, in his own words, we can change this policy. Those were his words. So, commissioners, as our duly elected officials, either put this UDC fiasco out there again properly and give the people you represent the opportunity to agree or disagree and the chance to voice our opinion, or even better yet, and what I want personally, kill it. Stop it, kill it, abort it. You, as our elected officials, have the responsibility to fix this. Will you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have Patricia Smith, Sonia Grigsby, Bruce DeVille, and Brian White, all speaking on the same subject. Would all 4 of you like to speak?
I would like to speak, yes.
Okay.
Okay. What's the subject?
You would? Okay.
Get 'em up here.
Were the other 2? Okay.
What order would you like us in?
Brian White.
That's kind of convenient.
All right.
Good evening.
I hold or represent a vested interest in properties located in Districts 1, 2, 3, and 11. One of those properties is in District 2, consisting of several hundred acres of undeveloped forests. I'm a voting member of District 2. The MPC's installment of the blanket UDC in our area was authorized via this commission and has infringed upon our property right freedoms. We pay the gas to commute, dig our wells, maintain septic systems, and do not ask for or accept city benefits in order to reap certain freedoms. Nonetheless, we are being forced to follow city codes due to the UDC. We want to be free to develop our land and support our individual welfare in accordance with parish and state law without the interference of a governing body of codes which was designed for Massachusetts. I don't think this is about aesthetics or safety because the city still isn't fixed. The city isn't fixed, why would we? I believe this is all about money, and I may be wrong, but I believe that is the case. I submit there is a spending problem, not a revenue problem. My wife, children, and I, as an example, are all products of legal homeschool education, like thousands of others in this parish who pay property taxes, 50% of which is for services that we've never reaped a single dime of benefit for. I believe an element here is the desire to follow an apparent national policy which is being greener, such as Agenda 21. I'm not opposed to the green concept. However, a rubber stamp of approval on something designed for the East Coast may not be good unless it is tailored to our region, our interests, and our rural values. As a local governing body, this commission has failed to protect the interests, needs, and desires of its constituents in the rural areas. You are losing revenue. My wife and I are in the process of working on some of the raw acreage I mentioned to build a home and a small-scale farm. This would have turned a property currently paying annual parish taxes of $25.46 as timber to one paying about $1,000 after the homestead exemption. Finding out about the reach has paused and potentially halted those efforts. I already have a literal forest on my properties, but according to the UDC, the natural trees that grow there aren't the right type. And if I develop it, I get to plant trees. I would have chickens on 13 acres, but because I live there, somehow now my property can only support 8 hens. And that would be the case if I only had a quarter acre instead. It doesn't matter the size until I get over 20 acres. I have a fence which would house cattle and a horse, but before I can repair it, I have to go get a permit. I submit to the sheriff is I can't fix that until I have a permit, going to be a valid defense when the cows are in the road. If there are even 10 of me in this crowd who are in a similar situation, you are going to have to write a lot of citations at the $20 and $50 level to make up the difference in revenue lost. If you are going to claim it as constitutional, then citations need to be issued in at least equal percentage amongst both poor and wealthy areas of the parish. The wisdom here is to repeal this immediately. Alternatively, if you truly want to represent your public, suspend the code and put it to a vote of the property owners in the area.
Patricia Smith.
Yes, my name is Patricia Smith, District 1, Myra, Louisiana. Caddo. What I want to bring up is the fact that not only do we have an issue with UPC or MPC and UDC codes, we also have a problem with our own Caddo Parish codes. We have under several areas in your codes, it talks about how we are supposed to live in rural Caddo Parish. Something I've noticed in the UPC code, because I have read it, is it talks about racial diversity. 46 times it talks about racial diversity. Caddo Parish, rural Caddo Parish, is the most racially, economically, and socially diverse area in Caddo Parish. There is no pockets of this one or that one. You have 4-figure incomes living next door to 6-figure incomes. These people need to be heard, not just the ones with the 6 figures. I personally, I have a farm. I know what my fence needs are. I know what my property needs are. No, I'm not going to let my chickens run next door to my neighbor's property, because I know I have responsibilities as a private property owner. My private property, as well as your private property, is your responsibility. We are grown people. We pay our taxes. We pay for our permits that are required, that we understand why they're required. But those permits and those levies and those fines that they want to impose on us in rural Caddo Parish that we find unconstitutional and, to be honest, stupid. You want to tell someone that they have to have something so much off of 150 foot off the road? Well, some people don't own 150 foot off of a private road. So you have to take that into consideration. Your inspectors or your people that come out and say what we can and can't do with our property, they have no clue. They have no respect for us as taxpayers and homeowners, but they want to tell us what we can and can't do. That needs to stop. Those people need to learn to respect us as private property owners in Caddo Parish. Thank you.
Thank you. Brewster Bill. Sonia Grigsby?
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon. I come before you as a resident and property owner of North Caddo Parish. I read what I was going to talk about. First, as a private property owner, my husband and I have owned multiple properties inside and outside of the Shreveport city limits since 2001, and we were never notified of 2017 revised UDC or how it would affect our property rights. A letter could have been mailed. All addresses affected are on record with the tax assessor, and I assure you if the people of North Caddo Parish would have been notified in 2017, you would have heard from us before now. Speaking for myself, the only property standards I wish the Parish of Caddo to enforce are rundown vacant properties that pose a safety hazard and trash yard violations that pose a health hazard. People that purposely live outside of the city limits would have never dreamed to be involved in governmental restrictions in a rural area that resemble what is found inside the city limits. This is not theoretical. This is not just about us moving boats and RVs and fence permits. These are real violations with repercussions that people in North Caddo are experiencing right now. It affects our property values and it affects our way of life. Second, as a business owner, my husband and I restore properties and have rentals in Caddo Parish inside and outside of the city limits. When nobody else is putting money into Shreveport, we are. We have had to deal with the MPC inside and outside of the Shreveport city limits. Our most recent case in North Caddo Parish was in 2019. We purchased 3 lots in a neighborhood that is majority mobile homes in 2016. We were denied rezoning by the MPC to put mobile homes on these lots and are only allowed to use the lots we purchased to build houses. Homes in the area sell for half the price it would cost to build a home. This makes the property we purchased and pay taxes on worthless. Had we known we were in the 5-mile zone affected by the UDC in 2016 when we purchased these lots, we would not have purchased them. We only knew we were under MPC restrictions after we received a violation. In the past year, dealings with the MPC and lost revenue have cost us over $40,000. We are Caddo Parish residents and support our 4 children with our business. If we continue to lose money, we will move out of the area to somewhere where we can run our business and make a living. That's a fact. Third, as someone that has had to deal with the MPC multiple times, they send notices with a time frame of 10 days to call someone. We have had bad luck with this, with the MPC in general. The majority of the time, the inspector on the letter does not return our phone calls. In one case, we talked to the inspector and he assured us everything was fine, and then we still ended up in court. This is not to be taken lightly. My husband and I ended up in criminal court over a fence permit. This is real life. We went to court and the court did not mark my husband as present. He never received a notice and they would not talk to him because he didn't have a letter receiving notice. They put out a bench warrant for him to failing to appear in court. We had to hire a lawyer. When everything was all said and done and our lawyer won the rezoning case with the MPC, the final verdict requirement told us to build a fence when the fence is what started the whole violation. This system is broken. It does not work inside the city limits and it will not work outside the city limits.
to our citizens' comments. I don't have any more.
Bruce DeVille.
Bruce DeVille.
Bruce DeVille, you mentioned my name.
I
come on,
did.
Mr.
I
DeVille.
called it. Yes.
Would you like-
Come on up.
Hello, my name's Bruce DeVille. I live up north of the city. I'm not going to try to repeat everything that everyone's already said. The things that I would like to add are, I do not believe I'm looking at any crooks up here in the commission or the commission employees. I do not think I'm looking at any. Make sure you got, I think you
Thank you.
folks, both the elected and the salaried, were misinformed by Boston. And I think what was passed may work in Boston, but it does not work in northwest rural Louisiana. I am in danger of losing my home. I am retired. I am past my working years. I worked for over 50 years. I came out of retirement and did what I call public service. Even though I was paid for it, I went to work at a local technical college, state technical college, where our kids could come out and make a great living. And I don't have $50,000, $80,000 to tear up my 12-foot wide driveway and make it 3 feet wide or whatever the heck it is they want. It's a great driveway. It's been there for 50 years, and it's served 3 owners in that 50 years. One of them's me. Guys and ladies, please don't take my home. Thank you.
Thank you. As we are unable to have any direct dialogue at this time, I'm sure that many commissioners, including myself around this horseshoe, would like to offer some commentary coming up very soon. But we want you to be very confident that we have heard your comments and your concerns on today, and we do not take them lightly. There are several of us who believe that you should have been down here a long time ago. So thank you for your patience in this matter. Madam Clerk.
We have no visitors, we have no special resolutions. We need to adopt the regular session minutes from December.
Moved by the
5th.
chair.
Can I-
Second by Commissioner Mike Middleton. Is that Commissioner Doug Dominic on the
Can
board?
I move to englobo and adopt the December 5th meeting minutes, the December 3rd adoption? Can I do all that?
The
And-
December 21st aren't done yet.
Okay, well, we'll just do those two then.
Okay, second by the chair. That was second by Commissioner John Atkins. Okay.
I have an exception. I don't care to vote the same way on both of those, so.
Okay, I withdraw my motion.
Thank you.
All right, the original motion is on the floor. Please vote.
Commissioner Middleton,
I've got yes pushed.
Commissioner Johnson,
Okay, and that passes 10-0. Next item.
did they wrong? Okay, now we move to adopt special session minutes from December 3rd, 2019, 2020 budget
Move to
adoption.
adopt.
Second.
That was moved by Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson, second by Commissioner Doug Dominic. See no discussion, please vote.
Now, which one is this? Because December 3rd or the?
December 3rd.
Okay.
Mr. Chavez,
Okay, and that passes 8. Matthew Land, you abstain?
I did. I wasn't here for that meeting.
Okay. Let the record reflect his reason for abstention. Okay, and that passes 8-1 with 1 abstain. Next
The-
item, please.
the December 21st minutes are not complete because my computer crashed this
Okay,
morning.
make a motion to remove this item.
Second.
Or
Okay.
postpone
Just,
it.
moved it.
Postpone.
Yeah.
Till-
Next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. The motion is to postpone to next meeting, and that was second by Parliamentarian Bowman. Okay, please vote. That passes 10-0. Next item.
Now we move to communiques and committee reports, administration response to information requests from commissioners.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, President Gage Watts. We had at the work session a request for an economic analysis on the Showtime boxing event.
Okay.
And that was placed at one station. And that's the only comments we have today, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Yes, Dr. Wilson. At our, if you could reach out to Kent at NLCOG, I think it's time for us to have our sort of annual NLCOG update. And if you could also reach out to Mr. David North with LADOTD and see what the status of 4th Street. I can't remember what the state highway number is, but Caddo 4th Street, if you could. That's it for me at the moment. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam President. A couple times in the year we had a motion to change the time of our meeting. Well, today shows that at 3:30, people will come. And so I think that that's an issue that we shouldn't bring up again, but I just let you know that when there's an issue and people are concerned about it, they'll be here and they'll fill the chamber and the overflow room as well. Today, earlier, I tried to have some transparency on the selection we did for the clerk position. That was voted down. During this term, I've heard, well, we want to be more transparent, we want to do this, want to do that, but there was no transparency today. When there's a possible conflict of interest, the letter should come from our legal department and not an individual. Because an individual can word a letter a certain way that it suits the thing that they want to do. And so if our attorney does it, it's unbiased, and therefore that's what we'll go with. For months, we kicked many topics down the road. That was the Confederate Monument. We talked about commission travel. We talked about the compensation that the commission was making, and it took a while to get that passed. But all of a sudden today, when it's an issue, and it's a timing issue because it's just gonna prolong the possibility of the person coming on. Because I'm gonna put it back on the agenda. Might be the next term, but I'm gonna put it back on the agenda. And today would have been a good time to do it because it fed into the spoke of trying to get it done within a timely manner. But there was one no vote, and that no vote now postpones a lot of things even longer. So, we sit up here and we say these things one time, but then when it's really a transparency deal, we don't do it. And we need to stop doing that. For as the citizens that came down, a lot of you are in North Caddo Parish, North Shreveport area. And, as the UDC was going along, there was meetings around Caddo Parish in time. But as with a lot of stuff that goes on, nobody really paid attention to it because they figured it doesn't affect me. And now you see that it does affect you. There was a lot of resistance on some parts of some people, and then some people went along with it. I will say that you do need some type of zoning laws, and not just say there's no zoning laws whatsoever. Because if you're in a neighborhood and there's no zoning laws, that doesn't restrict anybody from doing something that you don't want them to do. So if you have a nice home, somebody want to put a trailer there and then put junk around it, it's nothing we can do. We can't enforce it because there are no zoning laws. If there is a commercial place that wants to put a manufacturing plant right beside your neighborhood, there's no zoning laws, there's nothing we can do. Now, what I will say is that some of the ordinances that's in the UDC don't need to be there. And I've been fighting those from the day one of the UDC. But we do need something in the rural area and not just now. Outside, closer to that 5 mile area, when you get further and further out and you got more or less development, that's totally different. But what I'm talking about is outside the city limits where you have neighborhoods that you just don't want to have no zoning in those particular areas. And if you don't sit on 100 acres, that's fine. That's different. That's totally different from what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is when you stay in a neighborhood that's in a rural area. So we'll still be working and grinding to make the correct changes, given the input that we heard today, the input that I've been hearing ever since day one. And you always had my ear on the situations and the issues in the rural area. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson. Commissioner Doug Dominic.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, of course, this is my last meeting, but and a lot of y'all's concerns hopefully will be addressed by the new commissioners as they come on board. But I heard a few things. I think one of the residents said, and I'd like to thank y'all for coming here today, each and every one of you citizens. We've had this chamber filled about three times before, issues concerning guns, gun laws that were trying to be passed, and also some fencing laws around oil and gas rights, and those things were killed. So we appreciate y'all coming out and having an opportunity to hear you guys. But back to what I was saying was one of the citizens said the MPC director, Mr. Clark, said they did not do a good job. I don't know if he did that or not, but I do know that with Mr. Clark, there seems to be a much more willingness to work with you guys versus probably the prior MPC director. Once those citations started going out a few months ago, Commissioner Johnson and myself were able to talk to the director. They stopped those. We've stopped enforcement. We voted, I think, last month to request that the citation and enforcement issues not go forward. I agree with some of the stuff that former Commissioner David Cox said. You know, y'all need to slow down and hopefully look at this. We've known all along that there was going to have to be some amendments and changes. Mr. Hopkins and I talked. Hopkins will be representing you at the next week when he's sworn in. Possibility of reducing the 5 mile limit to 2 miles or 3 miles. I don't know, but that'll be up to the new commissioners when they come on board. Just to clear up some of the misnomers, you guys can't vote for this. We can't put this on the ballot. There's only certain things that we can put on the ballot. Otherwise, we would put the Confederate monument issue on the ballot. The only thing that we can put on the ballot are things concerning increases taxes, tax increases, and changes to our charter. But some of the things that Commissioner Lyndon Johnson said makes a lot of sense. We've had conversations with the sheriff. Mobile home parks carry a lot of high crime rate. The only way to control those is through zoning issues. If you don't have zoning, you can get a liquor store, some sexually oriented businesses and those things. So, you know, I'm not on the commission anymore after today, but I'll be willing to work with whoever, and hopefully the commission body, and I know y'all have heard these citizens, and will try to slow down this process to come out with a reasonable explanation to hopefully straighten some of these issues out. So I think that's all I have to say at this time about that. So thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Dominic. Commissioner John Atkins.
Thank you, Madam President. I wanted to thank you all for coming out today to visit with us about your thoughts and your concerns. We're all learning as we go. The UDC, you know, I'm finishing up my first term, and the UDC all came to the surface right after I came on board about 4 years ago. And as you all know, those of you that have read it, it's a very complicated document, especially if you're just reading it from a hypothetical type of situation where you're not applying specific examples to it. So I admit I probably didn't recognize all of the complications and the effects it would have on rural residents. In District 9, I do have a number of rural residents in District 9, but at the time I was focusing mostly on like the housing developments and the the builders and their concerns in our areas. So I'm afraid I've certainly missed some things. Lennon Johnson certainly helped educate me along the way on this process. Having you all come down and talk to us has helped to educate us. I think our new executive director, Mr. Clark, will be much more open-minded and amenable to working together to resolving some of these issues. So I believe that our commissioners that will sign on here in a few days, and those repeat commissioners will all work together to try to resolve many of these issues. So thank you for your education today. Thank you for educating us today, and let's take some time and try to work through things. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you, Commissioner Atkins. Vice President Chavez.
Thank you, President. I wanted to thank Clay Walker and Ted Cox. You guys definitely went above and beyond. I don't know if I see you out there or not, Ted, but Clay. Had a young man in my district, 12 years old, and you guys were taking care of things ahead of time. We actually took the young man down to the courthouse and talked to him about what could happen if he keeps fighting in school, and just, you know, the road to hanging out with the wrong people. And you guys really went above and beyond, and I appreciate that, because I know you guys are helping the youth before they get to the court system and before they have to go to juvenile detention, and you took the time out of your day to do that. So you guys are some stand-up guys. I appreciate you guys for doing that. Dr. Wilson, the 52 animals that were deemed missing, I know we talked about that before. It was a great explanation, Kelvin. I would hope that you guys would reach back out to them via that email, because they said that nobody had contacted them, that it was a software issue. So I'd like to make sure that they get that addressed, so that we don't have to hear about that, because I know there was a solution, and it was just a misunderstanding with software. And then in regards to all the people in the audience that are here for the UDC, I want to let you guys know that we hear you loud and clear. I really appreciate you for coming down here. I know personally I'm a city commissioner, and I don't have any land in the parish, but one day I'd love to have land in the parish, and I'd love to burn a bonfire, and I'd love to do whatever I want in the parish on my property, because I feel that's I want some chickens. I do. I'd love to have some land out there. And I want to let you know that I share your discourse with the previous director, so much so that I actually introduced to cut his budget in half right before he left. But I want you to share with you some faith that I have in Mr. Clark, that as recent as last night at 11 p.m. I received an email that he wanted to meet with the rural commissioners that have parish property to get with them on the UDC and get this fixed. So I have faith in him that he's trying and he's reaching out, and I know this board hears you loud and clear, and this month, if not next, we're going to have something that's quick and forthcoming. So thank you for coming down, and I want to leave you guys with that sentiment that we hear you loud and clear, and we'll be here working for you guys. Thank you. Thank you, President.
Commissioner Mike Middleton.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, this is my last day as a parish commissioner, District 8, which is southeast Caddo and Shreveport, and I appreciate the opportunity to be able to serve. And Jim Talaferris should be around here. He was earlier. He's in the back. He's assuming my position. I appreciate him. I think he's going to do a great job for those of you that live in District 8. I agree with much of what you, the audience, have said today. I really appreciate you coming out. Those of you in the foyer and outside too, I appreciate you. You said a lot of stuff. A lot of the stuff I agreed with, and I agree with a lot of things, particularly us rural commissioners. We weren't really on top of that UDC as far as voting for it. We gave them a lot of trouble about that, and mine extends all the way down to the port. For the record, I want you to know that I think there are more things that citizens could vote on. One of them be the Confederate Memorial. I think that should have been put out. There's no necessity, no speed necessary for that. It was just put out there, and the way it went was really not what I call good government. I feel many things voted on by the citizens should be done. A few minutes ago, I voted against the adoption of the special meeting from December 3rd, which was the adoption of the budget for next year, because it had non-government organization money in there, which again, several months ago, several of my fellow commissioners walked out, left us without a quorum, and so I had to end the meeting because they did not agree with some things I was bringing up. And so that's why I voted against that adoption of that meeting minutes a while ago. There's a lot more I would like to say, but I'm sure that's going to probably bring up some more discussion here by my fellow commissioners. Let me say this too. For the officers in the room, I've worked with many of these guys through the years, and I want everyone in here, please recognize today is National Law Enforcement Day. If you give these guys a round of applause. Thank you, citizens, and Commission District 8 particularly. Y'all have a great day. God bless America. God bless our president. Thank you.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. I meant to say that. Go Tigers. There you go.
Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Yes, thank you. I didn't know we were on communicators. I thought we were with what's the name, so that's why I'm having to get back in. Just want to, Dr. Wilson, Thrifty Liquor has, I saw something that said Thrifty Liquor on North Market has 52 cats living behind it. If we could get Travis and Kelvin to take a look at that. I don't know what's going on, but I saw it on Facebook that there are 52 cats or...
I'm going to ask you to reserve your comments. We have, if you would like to speak, we have another segment where you can speak in the end, but right now we need you to respect the government chambers. Thank you. Commissioner Jackson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm told that there's a farm behind the Thrifty Liquor on North Market. If we could look into that, and I don't know if they're taking advantage of the, is it some kind of congregant population or something that they can do? There's a program where they can have a colony of cats. I don't know if they're taking advantage of that program or not, but I just want to make sure that they're doing it in accordance with whatever we have on the books. And again, that's Thrifty Liquor on North Market. I don't know if it's that place or if that was just the vicinity that it is around, but that was a good point of reference where y'all could start at. I want to say that I appreciate seeing the abundance of citizens here in this audience today to make your comments and make your feelings known about the UDC. If you had to take off work, I do apologize for you having to take off work and inconveniencing you for coming down here. What I will say is, although we heard you and I think that you have support here, and I will echo the sentiments that many have expressed that Mr. Clark is willing to work with you. And I want to applaud Mr. Clark myself, because it takes a big person to stand up and say we got something wrong. And you don't always find people say that we made a mistake or we got something wrong. And I believe he was very adamant and passionate when he indicated that yesterday. But I want to encourage the group to have that same energy and use that same level of decorum and respect that he has shown and his staff has shown, because I did hear somebody say we're not willing to negotiate. We have to have zoning, we have to have land use. I have always said they have the hardest job in this city, in this parish, which is to tell people what they can and can't do with their property. But I would not want to have this chamber filled up or the MPC chamber meeting filled up with a petrochemical company coming to locate a petrochemical company next to one of those $500,000, $1 million homes that you have. And that's why we have a zoning code. I do recall that there was an issue down by the port where the port was looking to expand, and those residents felt that the port was encroaching upon their property, and they didn't want the port having industrial property or industrial zoning use. Is that correct, Mr. Clark? An industrial zoning use in their backyard. And what did they turn to, and who did they turn to help support their efforts? Was the MPC and the zoning code. So there are cases where it can go back and it can go forward. I appreciate your zeal. I appreciate the energy that you have and the courage. I've seen the Facebook traffic and I've seen the Facebook comments. I appreciate you for recognizing that nobody up here is inherently a crook. I believe the same. But I want you to know that I have 99% of my district. I have one road outside of the city limits, and nobody lives on it because they were flooded out during the floods in 2016, I believe. But we depend a lot on the rural commissioners, and we take their lead on this. So I want to continue to urge you to work with them. If we come back here in a month or 2 months, I think we will have moved too fast. But we take their lead. If Mr. Danny McCormick is here, I hear people saying that they would have liked to taken this to a ballot. Well, state law doesn't allow us to do that. And so I want to encourage Mr. Danny McCormick, who's state representative-elect, that's something that he can take to Baton Rouge and work on, because we can only do what we have the confines within the state constitution to do. So again, continue your advocacy, be respectful about that. I'm gonna disagree with Mr. Dominic and Mr. Milton that certain things like the monument would have been put to a vote. I don't think that would have made 7 votes to get it to a vote, to get it to a referendum. But again, we can only work within what we have to do here, and we do everything here legal and above board. Nobody's cut any backroom deals. Nobody's tried to come take your property. I heard somebody. I would like to know, Mr. Clark, how is his house being threatened to be taken, even though he's not in my district? Because I don't want folks' house to be taken.
Yes.
Because they're not following the zoning code. I've never heard of that, so I would like to have some more information. Thank you. I would like some more information on that. But again, thank you, Madam President. And I just want to thank those commissioners who are terming out. 2 of them are not here today, but thank you for your service to this commission body, and thank you for your service to Caddo Parish. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jackson. See no other speakers in the queue?
President's report.
One quick one.
1 second, Madam Clerk.
Just a quick comment. I'd pass along to Mr. McCormick. I think Ms. told us you got the information that I have something I have to be at here shortly. I'll be cutting out. It's not that I don't appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all, really do. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, now we move to President's report.
Okay, thank you. I was going to reserve it to the end of the meeting, but since some of us may be leaving, I just want to say thank you again to all of my colleagues for this opportunity. This has been an amazing ride. It has been an experience that I never forget. I think I talked about a lot of it on Monday, but I just want to say that dreams really do come true. Amen. And that I know
We
that
lost our quorum.
We lost our quorum? Yes. We did. All right.
Can you speak? There's no.
No.
You can speak.
You can still speak.
But it's unofficial. We don't have a quorum.
We gotta grab some people.
Yes. I move for a recess.
Second.
There's no point to vote anyway.
Nah, we don't have enough to vote.
You can't vote anyway.
What's going on?
See how it feels?
Matthew was already gone. To the bathroom. Are they not gonna vote on this? Who?
They went that way. They know this.
They all in the meeting? We got a quorum now?
Got it.
I understand. Matthew might be gone. Matthew been on his seat. Okay. You regained your quorum. All right.
You got it now.
All right,
Order.
we're back.
Okay, we regained our quorum. I once read that God gave you a fingerprint that no one else has, so you can leave an imprint that no one else can. I take not one thing about this calling for granted that I have been blessed with. Some phenomenal mentors around this horseshoe and an impeccable support system, even at home. I know that there's a young person that we haven't met yet that will one day tell their story, that something I said or done inspired them to be the servant to the world that they will be someday. As I've said, I am very pleased to have had this opportunity to serve as president of the commission. The endless days and longer nights have been worth every second of sacrifice on this journey. I thank my colleagues for your support in allowing me to facilitate our meetings, as well as work with the administration with full support on helping us to remain adaptable and responsive to complex situations. As we stand on the leading edge of a time of amazing developments, both within our community and the larger world. I am confident working side by side with each of you that we are up for the task at hand. I'm looking forward to working with the new commissioners who will be joining us around this horseshoe. I believe that we have helped to improve Caddo Parish in countless ways. Lobbying in Washington, D.C., economic development strategies in Detroit, for me, signing the emergency declaration, satellite locations, juvenile justice reform, human trafficking awarenesses, Showtime boxing, supporting our NGOs, our mentors who are in our communities, endless days and endless nights, school programs, after school programs, community service, our summer work program, and countless speaking engagements.
Okay.
Doug, even in your district.
What's that? I'm sorry, what?
Countless speaking engagements, even in your district.
Well, thank you for coming up there, and thank you for all the stuff that you
You're
helped us
welcome.
with.
And as I close with the grand opening of Caddo Common Park, I just want to make sure that I publicly thank our mayor for everything that he did to make sure that we could stand collectively for the goal of the people and make sure that that park was open. That was a very unique experience that I'll never forget. And we did it not for ourselves, but for the people, because we believe in each of you. I just want to say, as I hit this gavel for the last time as the president and go back to serving as District 7 Caddo Parish Commissioner, that my work will still carry on, as I won't sit in this chair and I pass the baton on to my colleague, to my friend, Vice President Chavez. I know that we'll continue to make strides for this parish. I'm looking forward to continuing to serve and going from great to greater. So thank you for this opportunity.
You have to run that next meeting though. Till you get
One more. But officially, with you guys, this is my last meeting.
Yes.
Thank you. Parliamentarian Bowman?
Thanks, Madam President. I was going to wait too, but I just want to keep it brief. But also, first, thank God for the opportunity. I thank my mother for the opportunity and her favor and people's favor to allow me the opportunity to be able to serve. I don't think this was going to happen. I'm very excited and for the opportunities and things to come. It's been a good experience. I've been able to even live my life out amongst everybody, the highs and the lows. Lost my mom and my dad during this time, but I also know I gained angels. And one thing that was consistent and surprisingly is that everybody around this horseshoe really was a family member in some respect to me. And I am so grateful. I'm so honored and grateful for the opportunity to have met all of you to serve. I do not take it lightly. I am appreciative. I thank you, Dr. Wilson. I thank you, Mario. For an example, there was a time when my tires were out and Mario came all the way from another town just to give me a ride. And I appreciate that. And I'll never forget, as I said, John Eckers, this man has the kindest heart and says the kindest things. And even when we don't agree, he always lets me know why he feels a certain way and then tells me, be brave. Go the way you feel. Go with your conscience. But always go where you're able to sleep at night. And I'll always take that with me wherever I go. And I also, of course, Lenny, you know, my big brother. And Doug, you helped me when I remember you with Mom. You were Mom's friend.
That's
and,
right.
Definitely Stormy, you already know him. A sister I'd never had in my life. And I thank you. And I just thank everyone. My experience, I'll sum it up from me as a poem by Rudy Kempley. And it's called If. And it says, if you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you spoken and twist it by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them up, even with worn out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winners and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, if you can force your heart and send you and to serve your turn long after they're gone, and so hold on when there's nothing left in you except the will which says even to them, hold on. If you can walk with crowds and keep your virtue, if walk with kings nor lose your common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you or none too much, if you can fill the unforgiven minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a woman or will be men, my son. Thank you for the opportunity. I love you all.
And that concludes my president's report. Next item.
We don't have any public hearing on zoning ordinances or cases, so we move to public hearing on ordinances. Ordinance number 5939 of 2019 to amend Volume 2 of the Code of Ordinances of the Parish of Caddo as amended, the Caddo Parish Unified Development Code by amending Section 2.3 Definition of General Terms, by amending Section 5.3 Use Definitions, by amending Section 6.1 Principal Use Standards, by amending Section 7.3 Accessory Structures and Uses, by amending Article 8 Off-Street Parking and Loading, by amending Article 9 Sign Regulations, by amending Article 16 Zoning Application Approval Processes.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance number 5939? Is there anyone here to speak against it? And I know that we've heard from a lot of you, so if you would like to stand, you can just stand. Okay. If you are here to speak against ordinance number 5939, just please stand. Thank you. You may be seated. Okay. That closes the public hearing on ordinance number 5939.
Now we move to public hearing on ordinance number 5940 of 2019 to authorize the parish administrator to execute a termination of right of first refusal on Lot 1, North Shreveport Industrial Park, Unit Number 2, being a re-subdivision of lots 9 and 10, North Shreveport Industrial Park, Unit 1.
Okay, is there anyone here to speak in favor of ordinance number 5940? Is there anyone here to speak against it? Okay, I declare this public hearing on ordinance number 5940 closed.
That closes public hearing on ordinances. Now we move to ordinances for final passage. Ordinance number 5939 of 2019.
Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
Madam President, I make a motion to postpone this particular ordinance for 90 days.
Second.
Okay, that was moved by Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson, and that was seconded by Commissioner Doug Dominic. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson, would you like to speak on your motion?
Yes, want to postpone this for 90 days. There's still some language in section 8:10 that needs to be cleared up because what it did was exempt zones RA and RE, but then there are some other zones in which need to be exempt as well. So that's already something that needs to be changed. So want to just take it off for 90 days. We go back through and reword it the way that it really should be done. I mean, the only issue that I really have with those recreational vehicles is that if they are non-operational, I mean, sitting on 4 flats or it's torn half apart or whatever, then that to me is an issue. I believe that property rights are there for a reason, and it should not infringe upon your neighbors. And by having a vehicle that has grass growing around it and is inoperable will infringe upon your neighbors. But if it's something that can move and you can move it around, it does not infringe upon your neighbors. So I want to take this off and go back through and look at those. Other parts of it is dealing with definitions and commercial stuff, but that one is still a part of this, and I think we should go back through and look at it. And by doing it the 90 days, if there are any that's close to the time zone, that time will be extended too for that 90-day period.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson. I see Attorney Frazier on the board.
I just wanted to point out that the first 90 days, I believe, if this was from the MPC meeting in December, your first 90 days will run on February 10th. So I would suggest that the additional 90 days would run from the February 10th date.
Right.
Do we need to add that into the motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. That's fine.
Madam Clerk, you have that?
Got it.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Yes, Mr. Clark or Adam back here.
He was.
They come up, somebody come
Hey,
up.
Alan.
Anybody who can, I just want to get some clarity. I don't have necessarily a technical question, either or. I don't necessarily have a technical question. I just want to be clear for the record, because I know we have a lot of moving parts and people can get confused. But this, any changes made by the Parish Commission to the UDC does not affect City Council version of the UDC. So neighborhoods within the city limits would still be bound by what is in that portion of the code. Is that correct?
That's totally correct.
Okay.
Only those persons outside the city limits are affected by the UDC in the Caddo Parish.
Okay. And I know y'all would prefer us to have as close to a unified code, but how do y'all, are y'all okay with these, what seems to be some minimal changes with regard to enforcement, or is this something that y'all can live with? I know we had y'all at the table at the committee meeting, or is this something that y'all want to take into consideration as you go back out? Because I know we've done a 90-day postponement, but do you feel y'all may need some additional time?
I'm real glad that you gave me the opportunity to come before the commission, because just like the commission, we've also listened. We are not lock-minded in any form or any fashion throughout the last 20 months. We've been listening, and we've been making adjustments to whatever we need to do in order to make Caddo Parish and the city of Shreveport better. We're very open to reviewing and re-looking at the Caddo Parish UDC. The statement was close but not totally accurate about me. I said it possibly, and that was the optimal word, possibly, because I was not involved during the time that the UDC was adopted, that we did not do as good a job as we could have done. And if that was the case, it is very regrettable. But we think that this is a golden opportunity, and we've shared this with the citizens also. We think this is a golden opportunity to, now that we have citizens outside the city limits of Shreveport engaged, and you can see they're quite engaged, this is an excellent opportunity to work with them and review the properties outside, and that's part of what we've been doing. Review the properties outside the city limits, work with the residents and the commission, most importantly, and come up with ordinances that fit the needs of properties outside the city limits much better. In all likelihood, the UDC and the parish will be different from the UDC in the city. But I truly appreciate the words that have been said by Commissioner Dominique and Johnson, that we truly believe that the citizens want laws and zoning laws to protect their properties, and that's the best tool that you have to protect your property. And we're just going to do the things that we embrace the idea of former Commissioner Cox, that it may take more than a week to do the things that are necessary to address the problems that have been pointed out. So we're going to be taking the time and working with you all, the MPC board, us, working with you all to come up with a code that's acceptable and that works well in the parish.
Well, I appreciate you not only because you're a Cowboy fan, but I appreciate you for your willingness to work through these complex issues.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you.
Thank
That's
you,
it for me, Madam
Commissioner.
President.
Vice President Chavez.
Thank you, Chair. Commissioner LBJ, would you accept a friendly amendment that we remand this back to long range? That way, within 90 days, it just doesn't come back on the agenda.
Right,
without
it was
you-
basically to
Right.
go back to long.
Okay. Okay, then that's what I wanted to do. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. I see no further discussion. And the motion that we're voting on,
Postpone for 90 days from the February 10th date, and that it's remanded to the Long Range Planning Committee.
okay? I see no further discussion. Please vote. And that passes 9-0.
Now we move to ordinance number 5940 of 2019 to authorize the parish administrator to
Move to
execute.
adopt.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson, second by Commissioner Stephen Jackson. Okay. Good, all right. See no discussion, please vote. And that passes 9-0. Next item.
We have no zoning ordinances for introduction by title. We move to ordinances for introduction by title. Ordinance number 5941 of 2020, amending the budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the Economic Development Fund in the amount of $10,000 to provide an appropriation for the Showtime boxing event.
So
Now we
moved
move-
for adoption?
It's title.
It's for introduction.
Introduction.
Now we move to ratify the
Moved
work
by the chair.
session.
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Jackson, you on the board to speak?
Not on this one.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Johnson.
I would like to englobo the work session minutes for December 2nd and January the 6th to ratify both of those.
Second. Okay, it was moved by Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson, and second by the chair to move in global, both items, work sessions, December 2nd and January 6th. Commissioner Jackson, not this one still? Okay. I see no other discussion. Please vote. And that passes 9-0. Next item.
Now we move to resolutions. Resolution number 1 of 2020, authorizing the Caddo Community Action Agency.
So moved.
Okay, second. That was moved by Commissioner Doug Dominic, and second by the chair. Commissioner Dominic, would you like to speak on your motion?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
I'd like to englobo and adopt resolution number 1, 3, 4, 5.
That's it? Okay. That was second by Commissioner Doug Dominic. Commissioner Johnson, would you like to speak on your motion?
No.
Okay. Okay, Attorney Frazier.
I would just like to put out that on resolution number 3, there is a date in there that refers to the 4th or 5th as the date that you're passing it, as opposed to the 9th. So it needs to be amended to reflect January 9th as opposed to January 4/5.
Okay.
Would that change my
Okay.
still motion?
Add that. to
I
the
second
ones. Okay. And that was accepted by Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson and second by Commissioner Doug Dominic. Thank you, Attorney Frazier. Commissioner Jackson? Okay. All right, I see no other discussion. Please vote. And that passes 9-0.
Now we move to new business. Confirm extending time to review and consider MPC case number 19-
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Doug Dominic, second by Commissioner Stephen Jackson. Commissioner Dominic, would you like to speak on your motion?
No, we talked about this Monday. I'm good.
Okay. All right. See no other discussion, please vote. That passes 9-0. Next item.
Confirm request to the registrar of voters to send letter to the Secretary of State approving Caddo early voting satellite locations.
So moved.
Moved by
Second.
Parliamentarian Bowman, second by Commissioner Stephen Jackson. Parliamentarian Bowman, would you like to speak on your motion?
No, ma'am.
Okay. See no other discussion? Please vote. That passes 8-1. Next item.
Confirm appointment of Miss Edie Festivan to the Shreveport-Bossier Convention and Tourist Bureau, term to expire.
So moved.
Second.
That was moved by Commissioner Doug Dominic and second by Commissioner John Atkins. Commissioner Dominic, would you like to speak on your
Yes,
motion?
I did get the resume. I hope everybody received it. Miss Edie is here. If she'll stand up. Miss Edie, how you doing today? She's willing to serve. She is the wife of Mayor Ronnie Festivan. Mayor Festivan, how do you like our forum today? You'd like to have that in Vivid, huh? In case.
Whatever they want to do.
And Mayor, he is a mayor of Vivian, so we do have some, but not. We've never had it this full in Vivian. So anyway, hope y'all support her appointment. She'll do a great job. So please support me.
And I believe if you said anything about school, I'm sure that he could handle it.
Yes.
All right. I see no other discussion. You on the board for this?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
Yes, I appreciate Ms. You getting us this. You said that you would.
Yes.
I didn't see any educational experience on here. Does Ms. Edie mind telling us what her educational background is?
No, I
for
don't
later
think so.
reference.
Come down, Ms.
I was just
Festivan,
thinking
please,
you have a
to the
particular
podium.
degree, just a particular degree. And let me just be clear, this doesn't determine any outcome of my vote. I just want it as a reference for later.
I fully understand.
Uh-huh.
I fully understand.
Uh,
I'm a graduate of Downsville High School.
And any college?
No
collegiate?
college at all.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Ms. Festivan.
Thank you.
I went to school under your husband and
Oh, did you?
great administrator. He was assistant superintendent at the time that I was there. So great person.
Thank you.
I've always thought y'all were owners of the Festivan forums too. So
No.
he debunked that myth then. That's it for me, Madam President.
See, I told you school, Fair Park, and then there was what? Okay.
Yeah, he was assistant principal.
That's right. That's why I said he can handle the crowd. Okay. I see no other discussion. Please
As a
vote.
man, I seen him running cowboy boots.
Okay, and that passes 9-0. Congratulations, Ms. Festivan.
Thank you for coming today. Thank y'all for staying.
Next item, please.
Confirm appointment of Mr. Jimmy Wood to fill the seat vacated by the resignation of Mr. Ronald Hall to the Ward 2 Industrial District.
So moved.
Second.
That was moved by Commissioner Doug Dominic, and that was seconded by Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson. Okay, Commissioner
I
Dominic.
don't have a resume on him, but I would ask that you support him. I know Todd will be behind this. This is a local appointment, fills a Ward 2 Industrial Development Board appointment in District 1, solely in District 1, and we talked about this the other day, so please vote on this.
Is Mr. Wood here?
No.
Okay. Commissioner Stephen Jackson.
I just want the record to reflect that we're about to approve an appointment without a resume. I know we had a lot of conversation earlier this week about consistency, and I have had some offline conversations with some commissioners about consistency. And I also would like to record reflect that Mr. Woods is not here. And so at some point we've got to stop picking and choosing how we do it. That's all. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Matthew Lynn.
Motion to postpone this vote till the next meeting so that there'll be time for the resume to come in, and I'm happy to speak on it.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second.
The only reason why I am doing this is because we chose not to put a person in a position 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, solely on the reason that we did not have his resume here. And I can't 2 weeks ago vote to not put somebody on a board because they don't have a resume and then do it today. And so that's my only reasoning. So I'm going to punt this vote if y'all will concede to that. That's all.
Fireworks.
All right. Commissioner Doug Dominic?
Yeah, I totally disagree. We need to use some common sense. If you want to use some common sense like we always have done, these are appointments in my district, just like we have them in Linda's district. It's very difficult to get, especially elderly people or older people who are tired, who have time, that sometimes have to fill out and complete a resume. It's difficult to get these guys to be on a board. It's difficult for them to have to abide by and comply with the financial reporting that they have to do. And I know this person. I've known him for 30 years. He has an ag business degree. He worked as a county agent. He's been a roofer for 40 years up in North Caddo Parish. Everybody knows him. And the Ronnie Hall has been on that board since the inception, probably in the 80s or 90s. And it was time for him to retire. He made his resignation. He said he talked to Jimmy Woods and recommended him. So please support this. You know, we don't have to have resumes for every fire district and every sewer district and every little industrial district. So the resume issue was basically kind of a parish-wide appointment, MPC appointment. It was totally something different. Thank y'all.
Okay. Commissioner Lyndon B. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to agree with Commissioner Dominic. When we talked about having resumes, it was for parish-wide appointments. When we talk about district only, we haven't had those, and we never did say anything about those. This is a district appointment, and so we also have a resignation letter here, where we didn't have one for the other one that you referring to, Commissioner Lynn. So there is another difference between this and the other one. I would support adding Mr. Wood to this particular deal, and hope that the other colleagues will do the same.
Commissioner Stephen Jackson. Commissioner Atkins, you weren't on the board? You removed yourself? Okay.
I second Commissioner Lynn's motion, but I agree with Mr. Dominic. You got us, you said you would get us a resume, and you did that. I'm going to raise an issue in a moment, though, about how we have approached another appointment.
I got you.
Because I want us to be consistent
I understand.
on what we're doing. We asked for a list of district-level appointments, and I believe this was on there as a district-level appointment. I believe I saw a list that confirmed that this was a district-level appointment. But I'm going to want to talk about an issue a little bit later about how we've handled another appointment.
Vice President Chavez.
Thank you, Chair. Absolutely, this is a district-level appointment. Commissioner Dominic, I'm gonna vote with you on this one. I would like to see a resume on everybody. However, I know when it's just a specific district, we always try to lean on the advice of that specific commissioner in zoning cases, because they're the ones that are out there. They got their boots on the ground, so to speak, and they're doing the hard work. So for this one, I'm going to side with you. However, I think we need to have uniformity. So going forward, and I know you brought an important ordinance that you'd like to see where every board appointment has a resume. I think if somebody wants to serve, they should at least want to submit a resume. It shouldn't be that hard. So for this specific one, I'm gonna vote with you. We'll get it up. We'll get them on the books to serve. But whenever the ordinance comes up that we can vote on it, I think we should. I think we should request a resume going forward, or at least have a policy in place on how we're going to vote on these. If it's clearly defined, then we have a clear expectation, and we won't have to argue about it anymore. So I think we should move this one forward, but then have a clear plan of action the next term with the new incoming commissioners. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Vice President Chavez. Okay, I see no further discussion. Please vote.
What we voting on?
Voting on postponing Mr. Jimmy Wood to the Ward 2 Industrial Court.
This will be the substitute motion.
I just wanted to make sure y'all knew this.
Thank you.
Point of clarification, what is the substitute motion again?
Postpone it.
Postpone.
Matthew
Postpone
Lynn's
it.
motion.
Yeah.
Mine's the first, come back in the second. Vote on Lynn's motion now.
And that fails. Okay, now we're voting on the original motion
To confirm the appointment.
of Mr. Jimmy Wood.
I ain't voted for it. He was on that.
And that passes 9-0.
Thank y'all.
Congratulations, Mr. Wood, in your absence. Okay, next item, please.
Now we move to communiques and committee reports.
All right, Commissioner Jackson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I just wanted to have a discussion. Mr. Marvin Muhammad is here. He's a business owner. He owns a contractual construction business. He took off work today, and for him, time is money. And so the time that he took to come sit down here today, he could have been out on a project, but he has been the subject of the Industrial Development Board appointment that was postponed and delayed. Part of the conversation that we just had talked about uniformity and consistency. I brought forth a resolution that would require a resume for parish-wide appointments. I did exempt those district-level appointments, and I think Attorney Frazier will probably have to go back and add in some of those others, because I did not take into consideration the hospital appointment and some of those other outliers that sit out there that those rural areas have. But what I don't want us to do is, I've always said this, when people offer themselves up for service, we should always treat them with the dignity and respect that they come down. We shouldn't try to intentionally let outside people smear their name or do a character assassination. Commissioner Dominic just said it's already hard enough to get people to want to come and volunteer their time to be a part of what we're doing. To have to run them through the ringers the way that we do, nobody signs up for a character assassination. Nobody's sitting around this horseshoe, nobody's sitting in the audience. It's perfect. One of the things my pastor taught me is I may be eligible for the second stone, but I don't qualify for the first. And so some people walk around as if they live in a glass house, and I wouldn't dare put my money on a glass house because I know I'm bound to fall, or I know a stone is bound to come through it. But what we ought to do in our consistency and in our uniformity is not try to sit down here and figure out ways that we can tell people no who step up and have a desire and passion to serve in this community. Mr. Muhammad's resume is now in your mailboxes. He has 2 degrees. We place people on boards all the time, and we don't make it an academic exercise. I can see if we were talking about hiring staff or if we were talking about hiring personnel, we're talking about somebody who is coming down here to volunteer their time. And again, for him, time is money. For Ricky Hall, time is money. For a lot of these people who are engineers that we put on boards, and if the record would reflect, his name was removed in a spirit of compromise. If we're going to live by the honor code, in a spirit of compromise, I've removed his name from consideration for the MPC appointment to be a team player. And the scrutiny he has had to withstand for no justified reason at all, I don't think is fair. He's a citizen of Caddo Parish. He's a taxpayer. He's a business owner. He's a CEO. What more can we ask for of a citizen of this city and this parish who wants to be involved? So I hope that on January 23rd, when his name comes up, we don't have to have this zero-sum game like we almost had this past week. My schedule is flexible. Some people said they wanted to talk about it, but my phone has not rung. We're ending this term. like this, I hope we don't start a new term in the same vein. We can do better than this. We have to communicate and we have to talk to one another. I try to reach out when I have an issue on something. I try to reach out to that individual commissioner and express my interest. I know how to pick up the phone and call Doug Dominic and say, what is this? And I hope that we will do that and not try to go around one another and do things like this. Mr. Muhammad, I apologize to you for you having to take your time off to come do this, but I appreciate your willingness to serve. Thank you, Madam President.
Welcome, sir. Commissioner Doug Dominic.
Yeah, it's a kind of tradition to give your farewell speech, so I'm going to do it at this time. I did type it up. I hope y'all will just bear with me because this is my last meeting. I was term limited off. Yeah, I don't think I'll need any of those off. So I'm happy. Wanted to say it's been a pleasure to serve as Caddo Parish Commission District 1. I wanted to say it's been a pleasure to serve as Caddo Parish Commission District 1 since I was appointed in 2016. I took office shortly after that and was elected in 2017. You know, it's been 12 years, over 12.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm away. Is that good?
I apologize. People were being rude.
Okay.
I just want to let you know that.
Okay.
Don't mean anything.
That's right.
Still strong.
You know, it's been over 12 years. You know, it seems like when you're, you know, that's the time you go through elementary, middle school, and all the way to graduate. It seemed like it really took a long time, but looking back, it actually kind of seems like it's been a short time to serve on this commission for a period of 13 years. It's probably just as you get older, time flies so much faster. I wanted to take the opportunity to thank the residents and citizens of Caddo Parish, especially in District 1, that elected me and had confidence in me to serve as a representative during that time. I also wanted to thank each of my colleagues who are on the Parish Commission, each and every one of y'all. Y'all have had the confidence in me and allowing me to serve as president of this commission 2 times during the 12 years. Unfortunately, the media and the residents of Caddo Parish seem to think we are a very contentious body. However, this is really not true. As we probably know, about 95% of the things that we do, we get along and support each other. It's that 5% that we sometimes have differences. I cannot thank each and every past members because there's so many, and I'm afraid I would leave one of them out. But I did want to mention 2 people, Carl Pearson and Joyce Bowen, your mother. Both of them were Democrats. Both of them were African Americans. Both of them have passed along. But both of them worked with all members of the Parish Commission for the betterment of our parish. Both of them were very reasonable, and in particular, when you had disagreements with them, they never held anything against you and always were willing to shake your hand or give you a hug after a vote. I think it's important to always remember their actions, that we sometimes we can disagree, but there's no reason to always be disagreeable. We are a diverse body. We have 6 Democrats, 6 Republicans, 6 African Americans, 5 whites or Caucasian, and even 1 Latino. As you move forward in your new term, I would ask each and every one to understand that we all come from different backgrounds and different districts, and our thought processes and needs are vary from each one of our districts. They're not always the same. I've learned that a lot from you guys and from the inner city commissioners. It's important to thank those volunteers. As a commissioner, we have opportunity to appoint members. We just saw that we had Ms. Edie appointed and Mr. Woods appointed, those members of fire districts, those members of industrial district boards, Shreveport-Bossier Tourism Board, the one up in Vivian, the North Caddo Hospital Service District. These individuals serve without compensation and on a voluntary basis. They give their time out of their busy schedule to be away from their friends and families to serve, and I wanted to thank them. I wanted to thank Dr. Wilson and his staff and administration. Y'all kind of like the LSU football team. Dr. Wilson, you like Joe Burrow. I don't know if you're that good, but we know the names of kind of Joe Burrow and Justin Jefferson, Eric are over there. I'll give Ken Ward. He's what's Moss's first name? Chad Moss, the tight end. That's.
Well, no, that Randy's son is Thaddeus. I'm sorry.
Thaddeus Moss. I'm gonna give that to Ken Ward. He's the big tight end. But y'all are kind of the ship that leads the commission. For the new commissioners, I would simply say if you have an issue or problem, please talk to Dr. Wilson, Erica, or the department heads and find out what can be done to correct the issue. They've always been willing to work with me and always have been very kind and generous, and we've always worked together to get things done, and it's a lot better to get issues resolved prior to the meeting. But when I talk about the LSU football team and the ones being known, Joe Burrow and Thaddeus Moss and Justin Jefferson, there's one group on the football team you never really hear about. It's that offensive line. Offensive line, and they are the ones that make the difference. They are the ones that I want to thank most. Those are our employees that work for the commission. I'm talking about our probation officers, our employees at the detention center, the employees all the way from the secretary to the individuals in the Department of Facility and Maintenance. They're the ones that keep the courthouse running, the correctional center running, the Caddo Parish Animal Control Officer, and all of our park employees. Those are the ones that keep the Walter B. Jacobs Park going and the Earl Williamson. Also, those employees who work at the solid waste. However, most of all, I'd like to thank those employees at the South Camp and the North Camp. They do a fabulous job keeping our parish roads and streets and bridges up to date. I never have a complaint, and usually when you don't have a complaint, they're doing good things. I wish each and every one of you the best of luck. I look forward to working with y'all in the future if you need anything. A great thing is Mr. Hopkins was elected. He's going to be able to automatically step in, have a lot of experience, be able to work with you citizens, and I know he's very open to talk to y'all. And if y'all have any issues, please give me a call if you need anything. So thank y'all.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you, Commissioner Dominique. Commissioner Matthew Lynn.
Ditto to what Doug said. But I want to thank God Almighty. I want to thank my lovely wife who has been my rock through these 12 years. I want y'all to know that we got married my second year in office, and it was the wisest thing I've done in these 12 years. When we married, I promised her that I would always do the right thing for the right reason, and I believe I've stood by that promise that I made to my wife. I want to thank the wise and kind and active voters of District 4 who elected me for 3 4-year terms to serve them. And my phone rang and I answered it, and I'm very happy and proud to have served everybody in District 4 and Caddo Parish as a whole. The dear friends and friendships that I've been able to make around this horseshoe, I have to tell everybody who's watching that when we're here, every one of us has a strong personality, and every one of us is passionate about what we do. And we will fight and we will cuss each other, and then after the vote is finished, we go in the back and we get along. And the reason why we get along after the vote is because we have to focus on serving the citizens of Caddo Parish. We have to focus on the next vote. And we have to focus on not letting our hair get too prematurely gray, because it was dark when I started. And we got to focus on not giving ourselves a heart attack. And if you carry a grudge from a vote that you won or you lost the day before, you're not going to make it to the next vote. And so that's why when you see people fighting and then you see people hugging, it's because we're family. And that's what you do in your family. You fight with your family, and then you love and you hug each other the next day. And that's how we have been around this body. And that's how a functioning family is. It's how a functioning government body is that you fight and you fuss, and then you make up, and you go on to the next issue, and you go on to the next vote. I'm going to hit thanking fellow commissioners a little bit on a different angle than what Doug did, is that I'm going to tell you that there was one commissioner that when I knew we were on opposing sides of an issue, and I have to tell you, it was about 95% of the time, I had to come with my guns loaded, ready to go, with all my facts straight, with my pencil sharpened, and that was Ken Epperson. We disagreed on almost everything, and I knew that he was going to be coming to the table with truth, half truth, and I had to come to the table with 100% truth in order to get my story across. And so it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. I'm so grateful to the citizens of Caddo Parish for letting me stay here. I'm so grateful that I have escaped with my dignity intact and my reputation intact, and feeling that I can walk out of here with my head high. And so thank you so much for allowing me to serve, and thank you, my fellow commissioners and administration, for allowing me the opportunity to work with you. It certainly has been one of the high points of my life. That's all. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Commissioner. I see no other commissioners on board. I don't believe we have quorum right now, but it doesn't.
Yeah, I got it. I got a meeting.
Okay. Bet.
We don't have any more votes.
No, the only thing, we have one citizen's comment card.
We have two. We have another one.
Okay. John Settle,
I would like to speak.
she's gonna bring your card. Thank you. Thank you.
I just wanted to thank John Settle, I'm sorry, for Tillwood. I want to thank everyone for serving this year. Y'all have had an interesting year, and I think Stormy has been an excellent president. I think throughout the entire year, her enthusiasm has remained high. I've watched other presidents kind of get worn down. She's been very inclusive, and I think it goes back when you want a hard job done, you get a woman to do it.
All right.
Now, after that, I just wanted to tell you that the Alumni Association at Clemson has rented a warehouse, and it's a cry zone for LSU fans, so if they start bailing out about halftime, like at Oklahoma, they can go over there, because Bourbon Street could be all orange after the game. And I am a 1970 alumni, so I'm going to try to escape with my life real quick with this hat on.
Thank you, Mr. Settle. And thank you for my tiara. Billy Humphrey? Excuse me, sir. You just filling out your comment card? Okay.
Yes, I've got a couple of questions on the fines and the money that people had to spend out because they got fines and citations. Are they going to, because you admitted to making mistakes, will they get that money back?
We can't answer questions, but we're going to, if I ask Miss CAO, Miss Erica Bryan, would you go over and talk to him about that? Thank you.
And another one, are the fines and citations going to stop during the 90 days that you guys are going to go through this?
They are already suspended.
Okay.
Okay.
That's my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Jessica Toulis?
Hey, Mr. Jackson, I wanted to speak on what you had asked about what Bruce said about the taking the house. Article 19 of the UDC states it, and Chapter 13 of the 2030 Master Plan. So you can reference there on that. You also mentioned, say, Happy New Year? Huh? What? You also mentioned that Mr. Clark wants to work with us. I do see that he does want to work with us, but it was made very clear to us yesterday that the board does not want to hear anything we have to say. So from what I understand, the board is his boss. So that kind of makes us feel like, why should we work with him? He is in such a bad position. He came in after Sweeney. He's trying to work with the people, but the board didn't even want to hear what we had to say yesterday. There was a man at this podium, and they stopped him and were going to vote on changing the rezoning back to charging after we had been told that that was going to hold off for a while. So I just wanted to clear that up. Also, the city encroached on us. We did not encroach on the city. We will not negotiate our liberties. We live outside the city limits for a reason, and that's not going to change. Thank y'all all for your service. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Toulis. Tom, give us some help with this last name. Come on.
Dozat.
Dozat.
Yeah.
Spell that for me.
Dauzat. Okay, it's my understanding Caddo Parish, not Shreveport. I see the Parish of Caddo, Parish of Caddo, not Parish of Shreveport Caddo. I'm trying to understand. My understanding is Caddo Parish has zoning outside city limits, such as Belcher, Blanchard, Gilliam, Greenwood, Hudson, Lakeview, Morrisport, and All City. I don't understand why Caddo Parish, you have Caddo Parish zoning. Now, if it's money, you know, that's, we can help, we can figure that out, go ballot, whatever, and vote on money to have Caddo Parish zoning ordinances as the individuals mentioned before. But for Shreveport, the way it's my understanding, and I'm from South Louisiana, is that you got the parish, and then you got the parish zones, and then you got the city zones that fall. So let's say you go in the city, you not only got to abide by the city zones, but you got to abide by the parish. You out in the parish, you abide by the parish only zones. So I don't see, unless Shreveport is heavily funding the parish, I don't see Caddo Morgansport or Caddo Greenwood. I see Caddo Parish only. If Caddo Parish rules you should follow, and then if you live within these cities, you follow their rules, and that's their zoning. And that's my only input, is that I don't know why Shreveport has an MPC of Shreveport. Why not Morgansport MPC help out with this? Why not Greenwood's MPC? Why Shreveport MPC? Why Blanchard MPC? It's Caddo Parish zoning laws, and then if you want to live in the Shreveport, you listen to Shreveport zoning laws along with Caddo Parish zoning laws. That's my only comment, and I'm sorry I wasn't prepared like everybody else was, but thank you.
Thank you. I have no other citizen comments.
Move to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned.